Hello, friends. It's another Tuesday, and I welcome you to the Mental Catalyst. I am Michael Amankwa. The Mental Catalyst, or TMC, is a show that seeks to empower everyone to achieve their purpose and full potential on Earth. Once again, welcome to the Mental Catalyst. Last week's episode was Season 2, Episode 20, which was the season finale titled The Power of Mindset. And I must say, it's been one of our best episodes so far. It's been one of our best episodes so far. I got a lot of interesting feedback, and I feel very proud that we're able to deliver on the season finale. The season finale was actually our longest, which was about 30 minutes. And people were reaching out asking why it was so short and why I didn't, go a little bit further or make it a bit longer. So what it meant was that people really enjoyed it. And for me, it gladdens my heart to know that the effort we put into TMC, people are beginning to sincerely appreciate and enjoy it. So last week's episode, the highlight of it was basically about, I talked about the story of the couple that had obviously challenges at home. The husband, who happens to be an old friend, reached out to me, and I spent time with him, and we decided to take care of the challenges that he had, which I have highlighted well in season, in the last episode. And after the husband and wife went through, whatever happened that transpired, as per what I said in the last episode, about 3 years ago, I reached out again because I've been reflecting on what happened and what the significance were and the lessons that were there so that we could all learn from it. So when I engaged the wife and I asked, what she thought of it and why she was so grateful and she was willing to, pay me for what I had done for them, she said to me, Michael, my husband is a great guy. He's a really good man. He has his ways, but he's a good man, and I love him. And we made a vow to each other that no matter what confronts us, we're going to see our relationship, our marriage to the end. So as much as I've always had doubts and I've had challenges and I've had second thoughts and stuff like that, I've never looked back because as a person of faith, I've always believed. And when she said that, I was like, oh, wow, that's pretty interesting. And that's obviously virtues of a very good woman. Then what she left me with that got me thinking was this. She said, Michael, we are all imperfect human beings. We are all flawed. And what is most important in life is for us to be patient as well as learn to forgive. In my 10 years plus of marriage to your friend, never have I seen him on his knees. Never have I seen him break down the way he did. I knew that what he expressed that evening was genuine, he meant it, and I felt it. And on a lighter note, Michael, the action we had that evening has been one of the best. So maybe I need him to apologize a lot more. So we laughed about it. So after that, I reached out to my friend as well. I wanted to know what his take was. And he came back and said, Michael, the power of apology, I didn't know it was that powerful. The mere words of I'm sorry, without making excuses, I didn't know it was powerful. But it set me free. It's giving me a new lease on life. And I feel alive all over again. I've learned so much from the episode, and I know I'm going to be a better person. So when the couple left me with all of these insights whilst I was reflecting, I was also looking at my own personal life where there have been situations where I've had opportunity to apologize, to say I'm sorry. Sometimes I'll say them just because I have to say them. But most times I say them because I meant them. And in some cases, I say them because I think the person just wants to hear it. So whilst reflecting on the power of apology and why one has to be remorseful and sorry and make amends, I recollect reading in my favorite book, Tuesdays with Maury, one of his regrets. And one of his regrets, main regrets, was where he fell out with a very good friend, and they stopped talking. They were not in touch for a very long time. And when he found out that his friend had passed, he regretted not allowing his friend to say sorry to him. His good friend, who he has had a relationship with, history with, who had wronged him for whatever reason, and had been making attempts to say sorry, yet Maury did not permit. So when he found out that his friend had passed, it hurt him, and it's been one of his biggest regrets till he died. So as much as we as individuals in our personal lives find ourselves in situations where we have to express sorrow, regret, and apologize, in our business lives, in our professional lives, there's also room and opportunities for us to be mindful, to express apologies, and not just to people above us, but to everybody around us, including our customers. So sometime, a couple of years back, Airbnb, the home sharing platform, got some heat, whereby on their platform, which is the Airbnb platform, African American sounding names were being discriminated against. So if a person who desires to rent somebody's home, a room or whatever it is, and the person has an African sounding name that anybody can tell this person is African American, some of the hosts were discriminating and rejecting such applications. So when this thing came to the fore and people were beginning to complain and it became public, Airbnb did not react in a very responsible way until the brand started taking a hit, and the CEO, Brancheski, wrote a personal and passionate apology letter, taking full responsibility, acknowledging that they had dropped the ball and their response and treatment of the situation was not the best, and laid out policies, procedures, and actions they were going to take to correct it. So in professional life, businesses also apologize to their customers. Management apologize to subordinates and, their peers and all of that. So at the core of our relationships, for us to live and succeed as we pursue our lives and dreams, lies we being remorseful and apologizing when we fall short. So what do these three stories have in common? The story of married couple, Maury regretting, and Airbnb. At the core of that is apology. It's part of our existence and who we are and how we live. So that being said, what is an apology? I give you the definition or meaning of apology. So apology is a written or spoken expression of one's regret, remorse, or sorrow for having insulted, failed, injured, or wronged another. I'll take that again. An apology is a written or spoken expression of one's regret. It's a written or spoken expression of one's regret, remorse, or sorrow for having insulted, failed, injured, or wronged another. That's the definition or meaning of an apology. Now, as I always do, I give you some quotes as well that ties in with today's topic, which is apology. So the first one reads, "Never forget the 9 most important words of any family. I love you. You are beautiful. Please forgive me." H. Jackson Brown Jr. I'll take it again. Never forget the 9 most important words of any family. I love you. You are beautiful. Please forgive me. The second one reads, apologies are great, but they don't really change anything. You know what does? Action. Apologies are great, but they don't really change anything. You know what does? Action. The third one reads, life becomes easier when you learn to accept an apology you never got. Life becomes easier when you learn to accept an apology you never got. Robert Brault. The fourth one reads, the most important trip you may take in life is meeting people halfway. Henry Boyle. Then the last one reads, apologizing does not always mean you are wrong and the other person is right. It just means you value your relationship more than your ego. By Matt Matthews. So let me step through again. The first one, never forget the 9 most important words of any family. I love you. You are beautiful. Please forgive me. In the story of the couple, remember what I said? He has 3 key challenge areas. The first one was home, his personal business, and then his professional job, his main job. And to tackle them, I suggested we tackle home first, for which he agreed, and we did, and we got the results that we got. So your home, you want to make sure that your family knows you love them. You want them to know how beautiful they are, and when you do wrong or you fall short, let them know you're sorry and ask for their forgiveness. Second one, apologies are great, but they don't really change anything. You know what does? Action. So it's not about just saying I am sorry. It's about the things you do to show you're truly sorry. Action speaks louder than words. Sometimes when I say sorry, those closest to me will say, Michael, this is Toastmasters, because of the way I would deliver my apology. But unfortunately for me, as a Toastmaster, sometimes it doesn't come across as genuine or they don't buy it. So the only way I can really show that I am sincerely sorry is through my apologies and obviously repenting my ways. So the third one, life becomes easier when you learn to accept an apology you never got. It's not always that you have to seek an apology. A lot of times you need to try to rise above the challenge and just assume that the person is remorseful, even though they don't say it, and give them the benefit of the doubt and don't really hold on to whatever hurt you to the point where you can't move on. So it's okay to be hurt and not seek or accept an apology and also move on. It's okay. The most important trip you may take in life is meeting people halfway. We are all human beings and we are all flawed in our own diverse ways. We are all totally imperfect human beings. Nobody's perfect. But a lot of times we think we are. We think, people always are in the wrong and we hardly are in the wrong. But for the sake of relationship, the sake of getting along, the sake of pursuing common interests and ambitions and goals, the sake of getting to that final destination and promised land together as a business, as a family, as friends, or whatever it is important that we find that middle ground where we meet people halfway. So when somebody is actually attempting to apologize, let's not be hard and set in our ways and not be forgiving. Let us appreciate the efforts they are making and do what? Accept it and let go. Apologizing does not always mean you are wrong. Like I've always said, there are a lot of times as I have matured. In one of the episodes I talked about it, taking responsibilities. I have learned and realized that, look, what is most important is not about me being wrong or somebody being right or whatever it is. What is most important is being focused on the agenda. So if there's a relationship that I think is priceless and means a lot to me, and this relationship is a relationship that has to, travel the whole 9 years to the end of time, I am not going to let, events and heartbreaks and frustrations and sadness and betrayals and things like that stop the relationship from going forward. So a lot of times I'll take the higher road and even apologize when I know clearly that I'm not in the wrong. But you have to be the bigger person. So there are a lot of times you have to do what? Take the higher road and apologize even though you are not wrong, because you do that because you want your relationship to continue. So in the case of the married couple, it wasn't that the lady was perfect and she didn't have the flaws or whatever it is. No, the husband went in there and apologized and took responsibility for everybody. If, maybe because he's the head of the household or he's a man, or probably he thinks that, look, maybe he was just too emotional about it. But it's not about apologizing to apologize. But there may be situations where once you apologize, the person may also realize that, because of your action or inaction, they also took a course that hurts you and stuff like that. So you can find yourselves in situations where, both parties are apologizing. Okay? Now, what makes an effective apology? Because when you're going to apologize, you want it to be effective, right? You want it to yield results, okay? You want it to carry punch. So what makes an effective apology? 1, a specific definition of the perceived offense. The person offended and the perceived offender need a clear shared understanding of the behaviors or omissions that felt hurtful, rude, or wrong. So what it means is that the offender, okay, and the person who was offended have to understand the action or whatever caused the pain, discomfort, hurt that one seeks an apology for. So sometimes somebody is expecting an apology for something that you don't even know that you've wronged the person, and so you don't even know how to apologize or what to apologize for. So it's important that both parties are on the same wavelength, where they know exactly what is at stake and what they are talking about, so that when the apology is being rendered, it is done right and it's also received properly. Okay? Second one is acknowledging that the perceived offense caused harm. So when you're the offender, you can't just make light of it. You need to accept and acknowledge that, look, whatever you did, knowingly or unknowingly, generally caused harm. Even though to you the harm may be of no significance or something that you think the person should just forget, you can't assume that. So you need to accept that no matter how little it is, to that person, it is significant. It is significant. So it's important that offender acknowledges that the offense caused harm. Then the next one is, not only do you acknowledge, that the offense caused harm, you need to also take responsibility. You need to take responsibility and it is my fault. I goofed, I was wrong, I am sorry. You own it. You have to own it. Okay? Then recognition of wrongdoing. You need to do what? As I said earlier, you need to know that you were insensitive and you made a mistake. So be accountable for it. Take charge. Own it. Okay? Then the next one is statement of regret. So while I am sorry is generally not enough for a complete apology, it is necessary. It's a necessary part of any apology, and it's imperative for rebuilding trust. So as much as just saying it is not all in all everything, but it's a starting point towards rebuilding trust. And in any meaningful relationship, at the core of it is trust. At the core of it is trust. So an apology is just a step in the right direction towards rebuilding trust and rebuilding the relationship. Then the last one really is a promise not to repeat the offense. So when you have done something wrong, you have fallen short, and you've acknowledged and you've taken responsibility. Not only do you say you're sorry, but you need to emphatically make a promise that, look, whatever I did, I am not. I will do my best, my possible best, as we say, not to repeat it. And if I ever do, remind me, and I'll always try as many times as I can to make sure that I stop whatever causes the offense. So there's got to be a promise. So if your significant companion, your spouse, your friend, your co-worker says, hey, I am sorry, but I promise to do better in A, B, C, D. They are not mere words. These are opportunities to reset friendships and relationships, and let's not take them for granted. So why are apologies important? Apologizing shows that we care about the other person's feelings. As we all know, everybody and their feelings and their emotional levels and things like that. But when you apologize, people believe and know that you generally care about it, and it helps for reconciliation. Apologizing shows that we are capable of taking responsibilities for our actions. Okay? So that's another importance. By apologizing to another person, he or she no longer feels that we are a threat to them, and often our apology quiets their anger. Because when people are hurt, a lot of times they will want to push you away, they want to stay away from you and things like that. But when you genuinely and sincerely apologize, they now stop seeing you as an enemy, as a threat, and then that also paves the way for reconciliation. Then the last one is, by apologizing to someone we hurt, harmed, we validate their feelings and their perspectives. So my brothers and sisters, nobody is perfect. We are not. Till we leave this world, this earth, we are going to offend people, knowingly or unknowingly. But we all know now that for us to live a fulfilling life, a life without emotional baggage, we have to learn to apologize. We have to learn to say, I am sorry. So if you're listening and you're watching, and there are relationships out there that you know are not the way you desire it to be, you have relationships that are challenged, you have people who have offended you, be the bigger person, take the higher road, reach out and say, I am sorry. So I want to use this opportunity to also thank everybody for all the support in season 1 and season 2. Truly, it's very fulfilling. It's very rewarding. The kind of feedback I'm getting, the kind of relationships I'm developing, my brothers and sisters, life is beautiful. Life is beautiful. And I wish I had discovered this 20 years ago. But like they say, God's time is the best. But before we go, I want to share this with you. I've just posted on my wall the story of Terry Fox. Terry Fox, when he was 18 years old, got cancer right above his knee. And as much as they tried to treat it, it got to a point where they had to cut his leg below his knee. Terry Fox is a Canadian. At 18 years old, he got cancer. He spent 16 months in the hospital, in the cancer ward, where he was seeing other cancer patients, mourning in pain, some dying, and he himself going through the challenges of the disease. So when he was discharged, what he decided to do with his life, upon his realization that cancer, the only way to defeat cancer was to find funding for it, so that research and new medications and new ways of dealing with the disease was the only way out. He committed his life to helping raise funds for research and support of cancer. Now, Terry Fox, what he did with a person with a leg and a half, because the other half was cut off from his other leg, got a prosthetic leg fixed. And he made a promise to himself and to most Canadians that he was going to run a cross-country marathon with a leg and a half. On any given day, he wakes up at 4:30 in the morning and starts walking his marathon. And he ends the day at 7:30 p.m. Rain, snow, sunshine, whatever the terrain, the environment, the environment, the conditions were, Terry, because of his commitment to raising funds so that other people can live well, free of cancer, sacrificed his life to go through these challenges in raising funds for cancer research and treatment. As he was doing it, the cancer grew, got to his lungs, and then Terry died. But when he died, the organization, Terry Ford organization, to date has raised close to $1 billion. That's roughly about $870 million US dollars, just because of what Terry started. And when I was reading, and I came across this story from one of the books I was reading, and it touched my heart that somebody with all his challenges, could be selfless enough to dedicate and commit himself to such a cause, whereby today a lot of people are benefiting and living off what he started, for which he came. So when he was doing it, he didn't think of becoming a hero. He did this because of his love for humanity. Last week's session, we talked about the mindset. We talked about fixed mindset, growth mindset, and then benefit mindset. And after that, a lot of people reached out to me, and everybody was saying, "Oh, Mike, I want to be in the benefit mindset." So growth mindset is where you know that, look, you have to grow, you have to develop, you have to invest in yourself and keep on developing and all of that, because it's not static, right? It's not fixed. But the benefit mindset is about you doing that, developing yourself and all of that. But this time, your focus is on whatever you're going through is towards changing and impacting and transforming lives. That is doing good for humanity. So Terry Fox was obviously in the benefit mindset. So people watching, as you are saying that you want to be in the benefit mindset, here is an opportunity for you. So about 2 weeks ago, I called one of my closest friends, and I had wanted a number of another person from her. When I called, this friend was sobbing and crying uncontrollably. And I've known this person for probably a little over 12 years. And I've never seen the person in that state before. So I was confused. I was like, what is happening? So when she gathered herself together, she was like, boss, I just lost one of my clients. And I'm like, what? He said, one of my ladies. This friend I'm talking about actually works with a cancer, charity, Run for a Cure charity. And one of her favorite ladies, and as she described the lady to me, my heart was even broken whilst I was listening. A young, energetic woman who had breast cancer, who was, responding well to treatment, who everybody was hopeful was going to be discharged, and the person just kaput and died. And it hit me so hard. So when I looked at the story of Terry Fox, and the story, and what I heard from my good friend, and seeing her go through such a pain, it hit me so hard. I was like, oh my goodness, there's something we have to do. So only last week, when I saw her post, her advert on social media, requesting support towards the Cancer Month, whereby, they have this program, Run for a Cure, where you can run 5,000 kilometers, on, I think 5,000 kilometers on Saturday, that's 30th October. I realized that, look, this is what TMC is about. TMC is about impacting and transforming lives. We are talking about 1 billion healthy lives. How else can we contribute to such a noble cause? I have a daughter that has a natural way to my heart, a daughter that I love with all that is within me. I have a mother that I love. I have female besties who will walk to the moon and back for me, swim the oceans for me, just to ensure that I am okay and I'm happy and I'm still pursuing my dreams. We all, as you're listening, you have your loved ones who are female, you have your friends who are female, you have your relatives that are female. You don't want to see any of them go through what people with breast cancer go through. Because when I requested the pictures of some of the ladies who have breast cancer, the pictures of just the breast with the cancer was sent to me, you don't want to see it. You'll be traumatized for life. Trust me. I can bet you $1 million. I don't want to see any of you in that state or your loved ones in that state. When I shared the poster or advert on my wall, my brothers and sisters, I was amazed by the response. A childhood friend of mine from Morningstar Primary School who lives in Canada reached out and said, hey, I want to support such a cause. She registered right away. Not only did she pay her registration fee of 100 cedis, she sent a whole lot more as donation. And when she finished, she said, Michael, do you know? She calls me Kweku because, back in the day in primary school, most people call me Kweku, Kweku Amankwa. So she's like, Kweku, do you know I'm a survivor? And I was like, oh my goodness. And when I looked at those pictures and I look at my childhood friend, who truly means a lot to me because it's somebody I admired a lot when we were in primary school, I can't wish anything else for her. And this is the last thing I would want to wish for someone like her to have gone through. Another friend of mine in Italy, Fidua, reached out, said, Michael, solid cause, let's support it. All of a sudden, the floodgates started opening, and even the friends in Ghana that I started reaching out to, everybody was like, Michael, we're going to do it. This is for TMC. We got to do it. So as you're watching, I am not going to force you. I'm not going to plead for you to do it. But the most important thing about life is living not for yourself, but for others. And there's no bigger way than to do that, than to support such a cause. So on this note, if you go on my Facebook wall, you see the advert, and you want to register, you can go ahead and register. The mobile money number is also on the poster, on the advert. You can actually do that. If you have any challenges, reach out to me through Facebook, WhatsApp, call me direct, send me SMS or whatever it is. On Saturday, we are going for a walk. You can walk wherever you are. This is the time for us to represent what we stand for. This is why every Tuesday we are doing this, and we are going to do this for the next 20 years. People are asking me, let's take a break since we just finished season 2. The reason why I did not want to take a break, because this is the month of what? Pink. If we take a break, we are going to go into November. I don't want us to miss it. And I don't want the message to be in November. I want it to be in the month of pink. So on that note, have a pinky evening and have a great pinky week. And on Saturday, may you have a fulfilled pinky life. Until then, thank you so much. Love you guys and catch you later. Bye-bye.